Good morning and welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago, where we continue with the program. Today we'll be joined by the Secretary, Finance and the Economy, Joel Jack. He presented the THA budget on Monday, 25th June. It will be debated on Thursday, 28th June. Good morning, Mr. Jack. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Pleasant good morning to you. Let me say good morning to all of Tobago and all of Trinidad and to your viewers across the world on the internet.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us this morning. We'd like to talk first of all about how was fiscal year 2018? How has the Sea Bridge, for instance, affected the economy of Tobago? Let's recap a bit.
Well, let's place this year's budget in context. When we looked overall at the economic health of the Tobago economy, there was a marginal decline of 1.8% year on year. And when we disaggregated the data, we had a couple declines in key sectors such as tourism, construction and quarrying and other sectors. While on the other hand, we saw growth in areas such as the financial services sector and other key sectors, sort of mitigating any serious precipitous decline. I anticipate over the next 12 months, once we continue with our program of work, especially on the development program side, and as we continue to work with persons in the private sector, we should see an upward trend and a reversal of the decline that was experienced last year. As it relates to the challenges with this Sea Bridge, let me say that it had an impact on the business sector, primarily the tourism sector, and the data reflects that. However, with the one fast ferry working and another cargo vessel operating between both islands, that challenge has ameliorated, and with the arrival of the Galleon Passage later on in July, we should see a considerable improvements on the inter-island Sea Bridge. I'm also heartened by the announcement coming from the Prime Minister following his recent trip to Australia. And we will see in the near future the arrival of 2 additional fast ferries for Tobago.
Would you say that there is definitely a need for these new ferries, and what sort of impact are we looking at?
You might recall when this PNM administration in Tobago and the central government, when we collaborated to introduce the fast ferry system on the inter-island Sea Bridge. It revolutionized travel between both islands and reduced the time from over 5 to 7 hours to roughly 2.5 hours. It also provided a fillip in terms of business persons being able to transport and persons in the agricultural sector in Tobago being able to ship their goods to Trinidad a lot faster. So we stimulated a lot of economic activity between both islands. And more importantly, the tourism sector and the domestic tourist arrivals increased significantly. So with the shutting down of the 2 fast ferries, there was some impact. However, this was mitigated by work and our intervention and the Tobago House of Assembly working with Caribbean Airlines and the Ministry of Finance to ensure that Caribbean Airlines took up some of or a lot of the slack. So what could have been, a further challenge for us here in Tobago, that was offset and mitigated. In terms of the numbers directly, we are hearing a couple of figures being bandied about in the public. At our last meeting with the business community, we have asked them to submit a formal report to the Tobago House of Assembly so that we can sit and discuss the overall impact. On our end, we are looking at the numbers. We have looked at the global numbers, and the chain has indicated that according to their latest figures, hundreds of millions of dollars. But we are waiting a formal report, and we continue to work with the chamber and other stakeholders in the private sector to continue to provide an enabling environment for all businesses on the island to succeed.
Now, the THA has requested $4.5 billion from central government for fiscal year 2019. How much of this is for recurrent expenditure, and how much is it for the island's development?
Well, disaggregated to 3.3 or $3.4 billion of the request is for recurrent expenditure, and $1.4 billion of the request is for development expenditure.
And let's talk a little bit about some of those development projects. What are some examples of these development projects that the THA has planned?
Well, if we look across various divisions and various sectors as it relates to agriculture, I spoke about the Goldsboro irrigation project that would treat with some of the challenges of irrigation across 950 odd acres of land across Goldsboro, Pembroke, and other farming communities, and that should result in ramping up agricultural production across the island. As it relates to housing, I alluded to a project that we are about to start in Chauvin using the PPP modality that will result in the construction of approximately 300 homes. As it relates to economic diversification, I spoke about the work that we're doing at the Business Development Unit, and in terms of launching an incubator project, and that will be a collaborative effort between the Business Development Unit, the Covico Industrial and Business Park, and the Tobago Venture Capital Equity Fund. In terms of infrastructure development, we continue to implement and roll out a coastal zone protection program to treat with sea level rise and coastal erosion. We'll also have an expanded road resurfacing program of approximately $50 million. The construction of 3 or so bridges in the Lambo area. One was recently constructed and opened on time and within budget, and I believe, if I remember correctly, the cost was approximately $14 million. As it relates to healthcare, we continue to treat aggressively with the incidence and the rise of non-communicable diseases, and to seek to expand the health services and healthcare on the island, and that will result in the construction of the Mariah Health Center sometime this year at a cost of over $10 million, as well as expanding the services of the Roxborough Health facility on the island. A couple important projects for us here on the island would be the cargo port at the Covico Industrial and Business Park. We are currently undertaking feasibility studies with respect to rolling out that project, and I am hoping that by the end of August, early September, we will receive the formal report from the consultants, and we'll be able to present to Tobago using relevant data and research how we propose to roll out the construction of the commercial cargo port in Tobago, and as well as the construction of other port facilities across the island.
Wonderful. Mr. Jack, in our final minute, what is the outlook for Tobago for 2019 and beyond?
I'm definitely positive. I highlighted the audacious work program of the Assembly. We are also seeking to assist to retool a number of persons in various sectors in the business community, agriculture, agro-processing, all the businesses involved in the tourism sector, to prepare them for what we anticipate will be significant tourism investment coming to the island, inclusive of the Sandals project. So over the next 12 months, I anticipate that we will return to positive growth. Expenditure will be ramped up. We'll have a number of major projects, either being commencing or either being concluded. The 2 police stations that are underway, those are managed by UDICAT and they are nearing completion. So all in all, we will continue preparing Tobago and ensuring that we prepare and have and that we foster an enabling environment for businesses to succeed and for all Tobagonians to realize their dream of living in what we call the capital of paradise. So we continue to manage in challenging economic circumstances over the past year, but I believe, just as the Minister of Finance has indicated, we have turned the corner and we're on our way, well advanced, I believe, progressing onwards to prosperity.
And on that note, what are your closing comments at this time?
I want to urge all of Trinidad and especially all of Tobago to read the budget document, to be familiar with the numbers. Please don't depend on someone else's opinion. I heard some of the early comments coming from some quarters, and I was really alarmed. I make room for political pick-on and the politicking, but as it relates to Tobago's development, we cannot play nor can we toy with the lives of Tobagonians and citizens resident for Tobago.
Okay,
I
great.
urge persons get online and read the budget for themselves.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joel Jack, and we'd like to also express our condolences to you and your family on the recent passing of your mom. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Well, news is up next. Stay tuned.